Hey Grace Church, Michael Campbell here, family pastor, going over this Sunday's lesson, how the lesson actually applies to us as primary disciple makers within our homes, and then the opportunity that we have in the classrooms. And so we're specifically going over one of the hardest lessons to ever hear, and that's actually Jesus Christ, God, being crucified. We see this in Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23-24, and John 19-20. But here in the New Testament crucifixion accounts, we read of Christ, the Christ, taking to the cross on our behalf. In this place where Jesus was stripped of his dignity, we find ourselves clothed in righteousness by faith. So why did the omnipotent Jesus choose the cross? How did the suffering of Jesus lead to life everlasting for us? And it was actually through the undeserved disgrace that he endured that we would receive God's unwarranted grace and the gift of new life. See, in the events leading up to his crucifixion, the King of Glory faced criminal charges against based on his claim of kingship. And we read that the scoffers failed to truly realize his eternal reigning power that transcended the politics of their day. And though he was truly the all-powerful Son of God, he was unwilling to save himself, and that he might save us instead through the suffering on our behalf. And he refused to bow down to the hateful whims of the world, even despite the physical torture that he was forced to endure. So how heartbreaking to consider the insults hurled at the only truly innocent one, even from the mouth of the criminals who hung on the cross by his side. So in the aftermath of such excruciating punishment at the hands of so many of his own people, at that the Son of Man was laid to rest in the garden tomb, thus fulfilling the burial prophecy of Isaiah chapter 53. And the ultimate price was paid by God, who keeps his promises from the old covenant now into the new. And so we really want to teach the children that on Calvary's Hill, as darkness fell upon the earth, we got to experience the life that could only come from the death of God's own Son. He who knew no sin experienced the depth of separation from the Father so that we could not have to endure such darkness ourselves. And so Christ took on the feeling of forsaking so that we would never have to be without him. And everlasting life is through him and through faith alone. That's literally where we get the name excruciating. It's out of the cross. And so this is, we call it Good Friday because it's actually a good thing. Now, the events were undescribable and hard to imagine, but we realize that God so loved the world that whoever believes in him will not perish but have everlasting life. God understood, and Christ understood, that there was a bigger piece at play than just him dying on the cross, but that was a complete redemption of God's people drawn back to himself. So big concepts, but one of the most popular stories in the history of the world is what we're going through this week. But you'll notice some discussion questions, some memory verses, and topics to go through as a family unit. But hopefully this can be an encouraging and building up time for you. But until next week, God bless and take care.